Good morning. Hi, everybody. It's Felix here. Um, okay, so I've just come on to do an energy update for June, what's kind of been going on um through through May and then going into June really. So I'm currently in Spain and I'm currently on holiday. So I'm going to try and keep this kind of short and sweet. And we'll just kind of see where we go. So firstly, there's a lot of things that have happened through May, um, with a lot of key significance, which I'm going to kind of get into and draw the dots within all of it, the best that I can. So we'll kind of pitch back around and kind of come to some kind of understanding by the end of it, I suppose. So just stick with me, I guess. Bear with me, and if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below, or kind of wherever you get stuck, just drop me a mail or something. So I'll just start off by doing some kind of housekeeping, really. So we've got a few events coming up through June, which is on the 3rd of June is Self-Care Monday at 6 p.m. So I'm going to be traveling back from Manchester to Birmingham, Birmingham to Leeds on the same day because I need to go pick my dog up. So I'm aiming to be back for about 4 p.m. So ready for 6. Um, but if I am 5 minutes late, I do apologize. I will let out a notice if I am. The second event is on the 11th of June, which is, I believe, at 6 p.m., which is the Lunar Matrix Enki DNA Overlay Restructuring Release, which has been highlighted through May, literally about 2 weeks ago. It all came very much into my awareness and accelerated, which has then triggered quite a lot of stuff. So I'll kind of touch base on that within this. The 13th of June, we've got the Lunar Matrix. Oh, no, we don't. Sorry, we've got the Psychic Healing and Development, another free session. And then on the 20th, we've got the Summer Solstice Full Field Calibration. And then on the 27th of the month, we've got the Grid Work session, which is, again, also free. What I've also done as well from this month is I've introduced two new services. The first one is that of energetic, it's called an energetic consultation. And within that service, it's basically it's like a one-to-one channel session. So it's that of like kind of guidance over healing. And it's a way to kind of go in and just see which direction you're kind of going into. What are the roadblocks in the way? How can you overcome them? And just starting to pinpoint layers and areas of the self that is kind of more unconscious without actually doing any healing work. So, however, that being said, without doing any healing work, usually with the knowledge and the understanding of the issue, it brings healing anyway. It's just a different way for me to work. And it's a bit cheaper as well. I'm only offering this on like an hour basis. And it's basically helping you get the information that you're kind of stuck at getting. And within that, you're then able to kind of sort out within your own energy system as to where you go with it and what you do with it. That's entirely up to you, rather than when I do the holographic work, it's more so directed to restructuring your whole field and updating all your fields. So I kind of do that for you, but you do that, you're present within it. This one, it's more so as a kind of energetic consultation to see how you can expand, where you want to go to, what you want to do, what's the roadblocks in the way, etc., etc. So it's just something new, and I've been pulled into this over the past couple of months, and it just felt like the right time to kind of do it now. As is the other thing, I've had more and more clients ask to book sessions with me. So I have agreed several times, but now I am feeling called to kind of actually just put it out there. It wasn't something that I particularly thought I would be doing, but um, I guess here we are. I'm just kind of putting it out there. So I'm going to serve 11 1.5 sessions for the price of 10. And within that, you also get like we also work together on like a development plan and start mapping your energy, mapping your history. And this is really fundamental to have like a kind of record as to understand where you sit historically, where your energy is within and what structures it's kind of held within, to be able to pull it back together and pull it back into your integral structure down here. And this is kind of fundamental for deep reconstructive healing, and knowing thyself within the process. So the more you kind of get to know yourself and you've got like a history that you can refer back to, it's building the awareness of you to be able to pull that resource in. So you're opening up a pathway that can pull in a resource that is able to kind of harness an ability in this life. Okay. So it's tapping into the mind and the energy of that aspect and pulling it back in within the development plan, and just having more of a conscious record, because sometimes when we kind of go through these processes after having a healing session, can't remember a thing, because you're pulling up unconscious information to the conscious and then having to go back and like reintegrate it over and over and over until it kind of encrypts once you've got the full information. So this is a way to kind of cement that and make it a lot easier, as is the energetic consultation. This can also be seen as like an integration session as well, to kind of get more of an understanding as to how you work and who you are without going deeper. But yeah, so the 11 sessions for the price of 10 of 1.5 hours. This one I actually recommend doing it every 2 to 3 weeks rather than like leaving it months apart, because you're then going to have an easier method of mapping. So it kind of yeah, just makes things a lot easier for you to kind of work through. So this package, what I've recently done, well, today actually, was removed PayPal from my website, and that's purely because the price that they charge is ridiculous. It's so expensive. So I've taken that off. But if anybody does want to use PayPal, they can actually drop me an email and request one, where I'll send you a link and you can do it via friends and family. So then it doesn't kind of take so much of a cut, which I don't, it's just the way the world kind of is at the moment. And I think the more we kind of become more independent, we need to find ways around where we're kind of having our energy taken from us, or having, you know, being tricked out of resources. So yeah, that's kind of the housekeeping at the moment. And if you did want to do it as like a kind of, if you are UK based and you wanted to do it as like a kind of bank transfer, that's also possible as well. In fact, I would actually kind of prefer that, just purely to kind of cut out the middleman, and then we'll kind of work it that way. However, I put these up just kind of for ease. I felt the calling. So yeah, that's kind of as it is. So my God, let's get into this energy update. This month has been purely quite insane, to say the least. So looking at the start of the month, from I think it was at least the 2nd through to about the 9th or the 10th, there was significant updates running through the fields, which was all about anchoring the Aurora network, anchoring the Aurora platform. So the Aurora basically sits as a host matrix to accommodate ascension that overrides inorganic reversal systems to be able to find a center where you can kind of rebuild the light body and shift your consciousness where it is not going to be targeted and not going to be attacked by the lower reversal systems that are sitting through the planetary field at the moment. So what happened from the 2nd to about the 9th was all about, I mean, it went beyond before that as well, but it really dialed up from the 2nd to the 9th, was an opening of the channels and the Aurora network to be able to anchor the Aurora platform through the Earth body. Now, this was absolutely amazing because as this kicked up a notch, this then accelerated an evacuation of dark mother reversal energy to be able to embody divine mother, divine feminine, divine light into the planetary system, which then catalyzed a stabilization between hero-gamic union. Okay, so again, we're looking at all of these themes that I've been talking about over the past couple of months, but there's been developments that have been building month by month. So within this, within this update of the Aurora platform, there was a hell of a lot of chaos that came through with the reconstruction side of things. However, through the overriding the reversal systems and then anchoring and updating through the inner Earth gates and the planetary gates, the anchoring of the Aurora platform was then presented through the northern hemisphere of the Earth. Okay, and this was the most amazing thing. To see a physical kind of manifestation of the Aurora within our reality that happened right after the anchoring of the platform into the Earth systems was the symbol that the job is done. And it was through that anchoring, this was a nexus point. Thank you. That accelerated the trajectory for New Earth. So I just need to review my notes. Okay, so with that anchoring, many things happened after that. There was a grid session that was done, which I've got up on my website. I don't have it on YouTube openly for people to review, though I do share it in some places, but it is up on my website on the grid sessions right down at the bottom, in which you can kind of see how this Aurora frequency is kind of inlaid and inlined through the inner Earth gates, which then updated through the mother arcing systems. I think I've done this one as a recording. I know that I've done one as a recording because there was several grid sessions that I've done this month. But some I do kind of more personally, and some I do more with one or two people, and then I've got the group session that I do it with. And these are all for purpose as well. It's all for intention. So this grid session was interlinking between two specific grids, and the grids are called the Golden Eagle grid, which runs through the 10th dimensional Stargate. It runs all over the world, to be honest, but this grid holds the principle of not the principle, but it is the Seraphim race lineage as the grid. And within that, there's a lot of different layers. I mean, the whole thing is pretty much highly fragmented, but it holds the father current and the father principle. So within that, there's a lot of kind of fallen race categories that of like the kind of Dracos that are being kind of situated through the fragmentation of this consciousness. And there is another grid called the White Lion grid. Now, the White Lion grid sits pretty much as a map for the Elohim mother frequency consciousness. Now, these two went through such a significant update over the past couple of months. And then this month, they both kind of harmonized together, which then ran through the vertical aspects of Earth. So we're looking at 3D Earth, we're looking at 5D Earth, we're looking at 7D Earth, and also a link into the 12D Earth as well, which all sit through different epochs and different kind of dimensional frequency bands. But this kind of stabilized the current between all of these different Earths, and it made it a lot easier to harness and pull in the information that was kind of sat between these different time matrices. Okay. So within that, this then kind of set a precedent for a reconstruction of the Father Seraphim race lineage, or the Seraphim blueprint. Which was able to kind of reconstruct and reposition the body of the Seraphim, which, bearing in mind, has been kind of repeatedly taken over and kind of tarnished through genetic digression, through harvesting, through kind of fallen race characteristics as well, which has been attempting to kind of break the whole holistic father principle or the masculine principle. So there's a whole load of crap that kind of comes in with this. And this month has been so significant, well, the past couple of months, but this month in particular has been so significant of the repair with the anchoring of the Aurora platform. So this has been quite heavy on the healing, and it's been kind of sending a lot of high levels of shock through the system, which can also perceive as psychic attack, but in actual fact, it is grid clearing, it is kind of individual clearing, because everyone's kind of got their energy everywhere, and they hold bits of this race, they've got bits of that race, and it's kind of how to synthesize and isolate the different characteristics and repair the different origin points to be able to become more harmonious internally. So this is the kind of fundamental of what I've been working through this month, which then led into the most interesting thing, I would say, which was I was in a session with a friend, and this came over the past couple of weeks. I've had this kind of how do I describe this? I've had this kind of feeling of atonement, not atonement, that's not the right word, or kind of taking responsibility for actions. And I've had it with a few clients. And then in this session, over the course of, say, like 3 to 4 weeks, this session that came up, there was a scene within it with the invader races, the fallen races that had gone against natural order, natural law. We're looking at hybridization, going against universal law, looking at kind of playing God, so to speak, and kind of creating reversal systems and destructive systems that are kind of pushing the planet, or were pushing the planet into a descension spiral. So it was reversing our ascension current, or attempting to at least. Which is just the kind of basic thing I can put it into at the moment for the means of this video to stay kind of quite concise. So there was that side of it, the fallen race side of it, coming into what felt like a trial or a kind of judgment. And the other side of it was the Emerald Order. So First God World, the emanation of primal sound, the creators, or kind of the creators of the creators of the first race, basically. So historically, these invader races went against the natural order, went against the natural current, which is real bad, because of what we've had to kind of deal with and endure for a very long time. They effectively had their trial within this. Now, I think this went a long time ago, but I also feel like it hit a juncture or a time point in which it came back around again and accelerated. So what kind of presented to me is, this was the first time I've ever kind of come across this is really big. This is the time where, up in the higher dimensional fields, the invader races have had their kind of trial, they've had their comeuppance, and significantly, as the Emerald Order returned, we look back to the cosmic clock shift that happened in April, sorry, with the return of the Emerald Order, the return of the Emerald Light to the cosmic clock, which flipped the cosmic clock from a lunar imprint, or a lunar imprint. You can see where I'm going now, back with the lunar matrix situation. The lunar imprint flipping to a solar imprint, which is a Christed imprint, which is allowing the solar logos to kind of emanate through our time matrix, whereas before it's been a lunar matrix, which is heavily distorted. It's been kind of controlled and manipulated on many, many different levels and layers. This kind of lunar the lunar matrix held a lot of the kind of DNA reversal technologies. It's held the sexual misery programming. It's held a 12 zodiac imprint, a 12 category zodiac imprint, whereas the solar is a 13, which aligns to the goddess. It aligns to the divine feminine, and it opens up for a full, well-rounded 13 lunar cycle. And I was going to say something else then, but I'm kind of coming in and out of conscious focus whilst I'm also downloading information at the same time. So with this shift in consciousness, this has basically untangled a whole load of the lunar matrix, not just from an Earth perspective, but from a universal time matrix perspective. So it's really, really, really big. It's multidimensional. It is linked into across all of time and space, I would say. within this universe, Tia Kodotema or Tia Pora, and it's unlocked the kind of controller structures and the restrictive limitation of the mind. So as this came up into the awareness, it's then triggered a rapid update of every part of the aspects of the self that had been held within a fallen race structure or a lunar matrix distortion. This has then been thrusted forwards to go into healing, almost that of a dark night of the soul. However, with this dark night of the soul, there is conscious awareness and the ability to know how to handle it. Whereas before, the dark night of the soul was a bit fucking messy, if I'm going to be frank. And there was no conscious presence and knowing of how to deal with the situation back then. It was just a kind of bleed in the water kind of scenario. Yeah, I would say that. To be honest, is quite accurate. So now with this conscious presence and the integrated forms of healing that I've kind of developed for myself, and I think many star seeds and light workers have kind of cultivated and integrated as to how to kind of work this through for themselves. This has kicked everything up a notch and allowed so much reconstruction and so much release. And what, in my own experience, the personality types and aspects that similar to the borderline personality disorder have then come up for review and been able to unlock and release easily because it's just a case of kind of sitting, observing, loving, and reintegrating. So that was really kind of interesting to me, how all of this has kind of updated. But my questions were around, with this trial, what does this mean for the Earth body? What does this mean for humanity? And what I thought I knew, I don't really feel like I know that now. So I thought this is going to be much more of an accelerated clearing of how we move into freedom, which, yes, that is true. But my perception, because it happened so quickly in the fields, I took that perception and applied it to the Earth body. And I was thinking, oh, actually, do you know what? Maybe it's not going to be as fast as what I thought it was going to be. Which is not to say it can't be done within like 6 months or moving into the new year. It's an ongoing process because everyone's kind of tied into it. And when they're ready to kind of release and let go their part of the structure, it will accelerate. But it clears through your own reality or through your own system, which then directly impacts your reality to be able to kind of come into a more harmonious state of being and allow the kind of fluidity of source light and the solar logos to kind of emanate through the system. So as this kind of runs to update with the flip of the cosmic clock to the solar imprint, this will then have a direct impact on the reality and the way you're able to manage and deal with and heal. So it is kind of fundamental to kind of look into these things. And it is a kind of great way to kind of identify which position you sit within it. So like I found that you can be on both or have consciousness within both because you're able to get that viewpoint multidimensionally from within these different structures as you kind of attune yourself and train yourself to be able to read them. And then through that, you're able to shift whatever the word is, like shift the wheat from the chaff or whatever. My friend always says this, and I can never seem to remember what it is. So shifting the wheat from the chaff and being able to kind of isolate the different characteristics and then just pull it into integration, because these are extreme polarities. It's polarity integration at the highest form. um, where you've got one side that is carnage and chaos, the other side that is a highlight structure, and one betrayed the other, and there's all of this kind of tangulation that kind of runs between it. So with when the comeuppance or uh, the trial gets viewed and you feel it and you kind of know it, you're then able to restructure it within your own field and accelerate the trajectory of release. Um, it's also really great if you do have a holiday booked just afterwards. So you can deal with it on the beach instead of being within the thick of it in the city or wherever it is that you reside. Um, I know for myself it has been quite rough, but I'm still very grateful that it's happened because this is pushing us all towards liberation. It's pushing us all towards freedom. Um, and knowing that it's already happened in the fields as well is big incentive to know that it's not far off down here. It's just a matter of linear time, but also multidimensional time. Um, so yeah. Um, Other than that, I haven't really got much else to say because I wanted to keep it short and sweet. It was quite a significant update to the fields. I will keep you informed. I am going to be doing more of these one-to-one chats or kind of podcasts like I did with my friend Syra. Um, I'm going to have her back on again. But there'll be more kind of interviews coming because it's just so nice to share the contacts that we have that are just so enriching to the heart and mind that really they've got a love for helping people, and that is such a wonderful thing to be a part of, to even just be in their presence as well. So the next I will have Syra on this month or June, and I think also I've got another guest coming on as well. So um, let's be on the update for that. But okay, after all of this, we'll just jump into a short meditation and just take a couple of breaths in here. And just breathe in emerald light and hear gong sounds as the light comes in, reverberates, and reformats geometric signatures with the vibration of the gongs. Sri Yantra. The mother of all yantras is the Sri Yantra. Muladhara, repair. Svadhisthara, repair. Manipura, repair. Gong sound, reverberation through the lower three chakras, the first triad body. Emerald geometry, black light mass miasma underneath the green emerald geometry. It's actually more of a whole field, as if my whole sphere is turned into a kaleidoscopic emerald fractal, and it's moving. And as it moves, it updates and reconstructs the geometric templating and inlays within it. And each time it moves, it's moving out the black light and black miasma, which I feel like is the kind of fragmented fallen race tones. A lot of really heavy grief coming. As the emerald light reverberates, gong sounds ma, ha, ra, ta. Primal sound tones repair. Bioregenesis. Deep organ cleanse. Release of guilt. Release out of resistance. As it moves through atonement, dia gorodama o dia bora shanaki garadia. Now just scan deeply within oneself if you feel any kind of level of avoidance and denial and kind of pride. Within that, there's a kind of internalized battle of moving through into light. Because as it comes into connection with the light, there's very thick, heavy pain around this. So as you look into the light, the pain that gets triggered within the system is brought to the surface, and then it becomes resistant, it becomes painful, it becomes hard to kind of focus on. And the mind starts jumping in all different directions, and information starts to come in very fragmented, or thoughts come in very fragmented. So little sparks here, little sparks there. As the more we kind of observe the light from this perspective, the more we can kind of push this through and bring it back into alignment. Okay, and there may also be like quite a foggy cloud just sat overhead. And this is kind of presenting as the confusion, it's presenting as covenants not to kind of look or not to review. Let's just revoke, release, revoke, rescind, and identify any kind of confusion, amnesia response, and just lift that out through the identification of it. The identification will then lift the energetic information because you recognize in that moment that this is not you. You are not the amnesia, you are not the confusion, you are not the resistance. Which then allows deeper levels of grief to unlock and release. And just want to kind of address any memories of victim or perpetrator aspects within this. So polarity aspects within this. And we just want to give love to both of them as well. Just kind of completely unconditionally love both sides of the polarity. And just isolate any of your energy within those systems, revoke any consent to being kind of tied into fallen race structures where you've kind of agreed to having that release, revoke, rescind, and just allow any of the templating, any of the imprints just to demesh, dissolve, release, and extract your energy back from those. Okay, and you should actually start to feel all of the solar plexus unlocking now. All down the right side of the head and neck. Any shame to unlock and release. And just bring it all back to center, just releasing out any memories that are coming up as well in the process that's kind of related to your physical life. And just allow this to detangle from your blueprint, detangle from your energy field for the purpose of not having to repeatedly go through the same kind of structures, the same patterns, and the same experiences of kind of shame slinging or kind of abuse, where we're kind of held within this mindset of kind of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, and kind of being able to differentiate between what experiences you've had within this life, which have been negative, have been tied into uh, a fallen race structure. So, for example, if one were to have relations with a person and then that person were to shame you afterwards, this would kind of be tied into a sexual misery program, which would also be identifying within. This is just like a very basic, generic kind of viewpoint of it, or kind of example. This kind of sexual misery programming would be tied into the lunar matrix, which is tied into the kind of reversal systems. Yeah, got it more to be agora. We just want to kind of disengage and separate out that. So just identify where in your life you've been kind of held up within that degree of experience and trauma, and just love it unconditionally, bring it back in. Identify that you are not the shame, you are not the fallen aspect, you are not kind of in your truth, you are not within that structure. Your truth is alignment to source, alignment to God. And that is the core of your being. So anything else outside of that is not your highest truth. And it's within those experiences we hold and formate for and create belief systems that we are less than what we are. And that was the purpose. That's the intention of these kind of digressive structures, to be able to hold us in a state of restriction and limitation. Letting all of the pain go. Deep heart release, deep heart pain. Reclaiming back the essence that was within those memories and just reintegrating now, creating the new home for these parts of you. And just going ahead and moving to seal forward through all levels or layers of light, through all bodies and through the breath of the divine I am presence. And thank you all so much for sticking with me. Have a lovely month ahead. And I'll see you very soon. Lots of love. Bye.